Hey guys, Doug here again, out in the bush today, and we're gonna have a little coffee, gonna do a little carving, but you know, I've come to realize that it's not about the difficulty of the carving, it's the time well spent in relaxing and getting out. So whether you're on a park bench with a dowel in your hand or you're in the bush with a stick, we're just gonna go out and make a coffee and do a real fun little carving. And not too difficult, but rewarding nonetheless. And I think you'll like it. I know after all the years of carving and whittling I've been doing, I still just enjoy sitting down and doing a fun, simple whittle, and that's exactly what we're going to do. So let's go find some sticks. And I did see a poplar, which I believe has some green leaves fallen over. So maybe we can get a nice green stick to start with. But if you only have a dowel, you're still good for this video. So let's go get some dry sticks for a little fire and a coffee, and a little green stick for a whittle. Look at that. Nice little bench to sit on. So I think this will be my home base, and just grab my saw here. Let's get a whittling stick. Yeah, lucky day. This poplar tree, you can see the root ball here is all fallen over from being in the wet, but the leaves are still green on the top, so it's going to be some primo whittling green wood, and should be really nice to carve. So what I'm looking for, where are you? Where are you? Hello, hello. What I'm looking for is a piece with not too many, I don't want any branches, I don't want any big knots, but just a nice little piece without too much obstructing it. So a little sap bubble here or there is fine, but hang on to that. But yeah, no branches or crooks or anything, but these little tits on here are fine. So break up some sticks, get some fine stuff in the bottom, and get a little boil going before we start carving. Come on. Sticks are nice and dry. Not like me. I'm sweating. I had to wear my long pants because the rose vines and stuff would shred me. But there we go. So while we're waiting for this to come to a boil, let me show you what we're talking about today. I whipped up a whole bunch. So like I said, whether you got a stick or a hardware store dowel, this is 1-inch dowel. I've done lots of carvings. I have a whole playlist, and we've been having a lot of fun this summer with these simple little carvings. So I'm going to show you what with the dowel. These are all carved with the dowel. All right. If I can get that. One's got some crackle on it. I made a morel with that. These are the dowel ones. So I've got made a little fairy house painted up. All right. These are my my dowel ones. And then with the sticks, I found one piece of stick that was starting to spalt a little bit, and I made a little fairy house here. But you can see the color on the top is bleeding through and around. It's beautiful, beautiful little mushroom. So I guess I didn't say that we're carving mushrooms. But here's another one with the bark on. Now it seems to me that the smoother the bark, the more apt it is to stick to the wood when it dries. So that's what we're hoping for, that the bark will stick, and maybe we'll just do something simple like this with the bark and let it dry right on. But I also whipped up a double one here. See that? Now that is same idea. That's poplar as well, and yeah, with the bark on. I think it's really cool. So that's what we're up to. Cheating today, 3-in-1, but at least it's a double. So I hope you're understanding what I've been up to this summer, in that when I look at my analytics for my YouTube channel, it seems to me 60% maybe to be, you know, on the low side. 60% of carvers and whittlers are my age and over. And there's no reason in the world that we can't get the young folks whittling like the olden days. And that's why I've been playing more with dowels from the hardware store, and found sticks rather than you know, cottonwood bark or you know, expensive basswood. So it's very, very accessible, and yeah, I just want to encourage the younger folks, and of course us as well, to get into the hobby and get hooked, because it can change your world. I know it did mine. So that's the whole goal of these simple carvings. And truth of the matter is, it's just fun when you don't have to be super creative and artistic, just to sit down, whittle something, whether you're camping or, like I said, sitting on a park bench with a stick or a dowel or whatever you got, and it just makes the time go by so much better, and you've got something to put in your pocket or give away on the way home. And yeah, so that's my whole spiel on the simple carvings. And boy, we lucked out today with a nice piece of poplar. It's green. Now, can you carve dry? 100%. Like I showed you that spalted one, that was a dead on the ground dry stick. And some wood is harder than others, that's a fact. But that just means you just gotta take a couple extra cuts to get in there. So oh, I'm gonna stop talking for a minute, drink my coffee, and then we'll attack our little mushroom carving. Alright, so here's a little piece of wood here. What I didn't mention is, good to have it a little bit bigger, give yourself something to hold on to. And I like to always kind of find the center, which is usually the pith area, but if you want to make it crooked and make this the center, you make that the center. But for today, we're just doing a straight up and down little mushroom fella, and there is no wrong mushroom, okay? So let's say I go, I don't know, who cares, like, let's make this one about 1.5 inches. All right, you don't have to do any marking whatsoever, but why not? So it's gonna take the bark off. If it was a real dirty, old, rough piece of wood, I might use a maybe a bushcrafty knife or something just to take the bark off, just so that I don't, you know, get all that dirt and gunk on my nice carving sharp knife. But yeah. Now, just going around there, you can see I made some little scallops. It's kind of fun. Let's do that. We're going to leave the bark on, so just kind of scallop the edge of our mushroom. All right, see that? How it goes toot, toot, toot. All right. That's good enough. And then we'll bring her to center. Yeah, I am... not gonna lie, very fortunate to have a nice green piece of wood, and you know what, that's good for the video anyway, so it won't take as long. But it's not a race. We're just spending some quality time outside. Got my dog. We're right on the edge of some rain too, so it'd be nice to get this done. So, if you're a newer carver or a smart carver, I would always recommend bringing yourself a little carving glove, because if you cut yourself out in the bush, it can be trouble, and it's very easy to do so. So I recommend it. Do as I say, not as I do. You know, dad rules. And I look at that and say, that's just a little lump there. So maybe I'm gonna give it a little kick up. Give it a little swale in the middle there. And when I do that, you can see I create a little ridge here. So just kind of skip around again and make it a little bit more random. All right. So, like I said, this was going to dry. Let me grab this one. That bark is going to dry really dark, like that. So, if I take the time, like I said, maybe make some little scallops around there. If I take the time and do it right, but you can make a pretty little design. Shouldn't say pretty, cuter design. Then I'm just going to go around, give myself room to make it smaller if I want to, but just running around the mushroom head. Like I said, cutting a little bit extra so that I can angle it down again. But, all right. So I'm just going straight in and just sliding up to it. Just kind of making a little stop cut so all my future cuts can cut up against it, all right? Just like that. Now I have a little stop cut that my knife can stop at. All right, then just go in straight and around. All right. Now, I'm going to make this fairly big, so I can go a little bit lower and just do the same thing again. Making sure my fingers are never, ever in front of the knife. You should never have to check the thickness, as long as you cut the same all the way around. Same size cuts, but that's what we're up to. All right. So this is a little bit of a little fiddly part, so I'll bring you back because I'm going to do the same thing over and over until I get the thickness that I want in the middle, which is only going to be, 5/8 of an inch or so. So I think that's just about it. All right. So our mushroom is only going to be about that tall here. Okay. But before we cut it off again, let's do everything we can to the top. So like I said, I left a little bit extra bark on there. So I'm going to angle that down a bit. Just kind of go around, give it a slight angle. Remember, you can make the head crooked, you can lean it back, you can make a wonky center, but I'm just going to clean that up and bring it back on a little bit of an angle, because I'm going to do one more thing underneath, which is not necessary, but I think it always gives a little extra little flair. If you have a V tool, that is, or a gouge. All right, bring that. That's nice. The bark is not too slippery. Doesn't want to come off. And as far as the splitting goes too, with carving green, I've never really had an issue with anything this size or smaller. But it's possible, and if that happens, well, that's just maybe some extra character, right? So I'm going to take this. I have somewhere here. I brought a V tool along, and just for some little extra character, I'm just going to go on the bottom here. I don't know the proper terminology for what you call these. Somebody can write it in the comments, but I'm just going to go and do the underbelly of this mushroom. Boy, this is carving so nice. If you ever get a fresh branch, that's the way to go. Alright, so just working my way around with the V tool. Mosquito biting my nose. Ouch. Alright. See that? Then I'll take my knife again. Clean that up at the base, but alright. That's where we are. So like I said, I'm going to cut it off right about there. And I don't think I'm going to keep the bark on the bottom. I'm going to make a little bulb, so I'm just going to cut that off. Alright, you know what? We've got the bark. Let's try and keep a little bit of the bark on the bottom. If we don't have bark, we would wish we had bark. So let's not waste it. I'm just going to take the chamfer the bottom edge here. Alright. And the same thing, we'll just make a little line around. Alright. The other nice thing is that if you go crooked, you're crooked. It doesn't matter. Nature is not always straight. It could be reaching for the sun, could have been stepped on. Many things. So basically the same idea. All we did is went around, made a stop cut, right? So now we have something to carve against. We'll go around, bring the bottom down. Knife I'm using is a 1 3/4 or 1 7/8 OCC Tools knife, and I like it. But like I said, I wouldn't want to hog bark off, like old rough and dirty bark, with such a fine blade. Yeah, we're getting there. It's really all up to your own imagination, because, you know, these mushrooms aren't for identification to eat. They're just for your own art, I guess we say. But you can do this with a pocket knife. You can do this with a big old Moore knife, Moore bushcraft knife. So I would say that would be, you know, pushing 1 3/4, 2-inch stick. But I'm going to go in just a little bit more. I want to really kind of cinch up the bottom. And then I will do the cleanup cuts. You can see as I cut against it. So now go around and we're just gonna do a little cleanup cut. All right. That's what happens when we use that as a stop block. We got lots of cut marks, so we just clean them all off. Okay, now if we want to chamfer that edge too, we can do that. Just run our knife around. Finn here is a chainsaw, and Finn hates a chainsaw. It scares the life out of him. That's the only time he will disobey me, is if I have a chainsaw in my hand. So, just like a thunderstorm, he always has to come and find me, and he'll come and lay at my feet. Alright. So we chamfered both edges of the bottom. Now I want to get rid of that little sharp center. That's just a matter of control of cuts. You can see my thumb. I'm pulling the blade with my thumb so that I'm not pushing, and it's not going to slip. It's only going to go as far as my thumb will bring it. So it's not a fear of cutting myself, because I am the driver. Alright, but every time we do that, now you can see we've created a ridge around here. So we're going to go back and now we'll do like every other cut that we did, just to be a little bit more random. We want to break it up so that we don't have any lines, but we do love the facets. Alright, I always say a carving should look like it's carved. By that I mean these beautiful knife marks, right? So just going to go around looking at it, taking off too many straight lines and making it look a little bit more random. But there we go. There, nice and clean. And that bark is going to suck dry on there when it dries, turn dark, and it'll look good. I undercut this a little bit, and that way it'll leave a little bit of a shadow under the edge, keeping the bottom center flat. But there we go. Look at this. She's a sticky day. My goodness, I'm soaked. But there you go. I don't care if you're 8 or 80. This is just a fun, simple little whittle. Whether you're fishing or, like I said, having a picnic in the park with a dowel, stick. It's just fun. Busy hands, you feel accomplished, you didn't play a video game, and there you go. So why don't you give her a try, and yeah, you'd be surprised, you might get hooked. So until the next one, guys, thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one. And again, I keep forgetting to thank those who bought me a coffee. Never expected, but always appreciated. So thanks, guys. See you next time.